All right, guys, welcome to Give It Podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. I'm your host, the most Black Spartan, of course, the man to my left, to your right, who has a wonderful slogan for, I guess, 2024, as I see it now. What do you have today for us, sir?
Way too many Christmas cookies, Joe Tonello.
Together we are the Give It Podcast. Much like the WWE of old, guys, there is a little bit of adult language, but we don't cuss that much. And of course, there may be trailers that we do show that might be too intense for younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. All right, so as we get to, I guess you can call it 2 days before Christmas, I guess you can call it.
I know, we refer to this place, we refer to it Muppet-wise.
Yeah.
2 more sleeps before Christmas.
2 more sleeps, 3 more sleeps. But anyway, but of course, we at Get Bit, of course, all wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a happy Kwanzaa, happy Festivus for the rest of us. For all you
Except
people out there.
People celebrating Robo Xmas.
That too.
And Robo Kwanzaa.
Because we don't want to leave anybody out. But that being said, we do got some news this week, guys, including a new trailer from the upcoming Marvel Studios Echo, which I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge, but here's the trailer.
Exclusively on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Kingpin thanks you for your loyalty.
Viewer discretion is advised. On January 9th. All 5 episodes. 1 killer drop. I wouldn't have it any other way. Don't miss Marvel's most intense series yet. Maya, enough games. If you want a war, you'll have it. Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th at 6 p.m. PT. Set your Disney.
So, guys, there you see it. That was the most updated trailer for Marvel's Echo, which will, I think, set a different tone for Marvel, if you think about it. Echo, as we did see in Hawkeye, and of course, now she'll be getting her own run in the MCU. And of course, we will see the Kingpin there. Not really a lot on anybody else will be doing this. Actually will be in this come January the 9th. But let's just think about this. I mean, I like the fact that they are definitely I like the fact that the MCU is finally taking a risk, because this is dark, this is John Wick-esque, and it's not your usual blue sky storytelling from MCU. So I kind of like that. It does make me want to make this 5-episode run. It makes me want to watch it. But Joe, what about you?
Well, if you look very closely, you do get to see Daredevil, and he's back in the red suit.
Okay.
But it's one of those literally you blink and you miss it clips in here. So I think this is going to be setting up our ground level stuff and setting the tone to what Daredevil will possibly be, because we do know that Daredevil is being reworked. Hopefully back towards what it used to be prior to what was going to be the previous Disney incarnation. I don't see any problems with this. I do only have one issue with it, where they keep marking it as it's completely standalone. You don't have to see anything else before this to watch that, to which I call utter and total BS. You absolutely have to watch Hawkeye to understand at least maybe half of what's going on and why it's happening.
Yeah.
So that's just a complete and utter lie right out the gate. But other than that, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely something I do want to see. I'm glad it's dropping all 5 episodes at once. If I can do an episode a week or an episode a day, and then we can talk about thoughts and feelings on it on Friday when we both watch the finale.
True. I mean, I just think that they wanted this whole thing of, and I get it, folks who are new to this type of storytelling, they always ask that question. It's like, do you have to? Do we need to watch something before this to get caught up on what's going on? In this case, I agree with you, Joe. In this case, you do have to watch Hawkeye, and Hawkeye #1 is a great series. Also on Christmas, by the way, for all those that keep track of things we watch on Christmas. But the Hawkeye series was great. You got introduced to Lucky the Pizza Dog. You got introduced to Kate Bishop, which again was all great things. And yes, you did get introduced to Echo in that particular series. Now, it will serve people well. I'm going to be honest with you. It will serve you well to actually watch that and then watch Echo, because of this, you'll get a little bit of a backstory. But again, we do love the fact that because it's Echo, the Native American representation is going to show greatly in this, which is exactly what we've been screaming for when it comes to representation across all minority groups. So no complaints there. But again, it's Kingpin. It's Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. I could watch that man monologue all day, honestly. So I've got no issues with that. But again, come January, because MCU is going to need a lot of wins because of what happened, but we'll get to that very shortly. But speaking of things that need repair, James Gunn, and Gunn We Trust with DC, has sat there and told us that the DCU show for Lanterns will fix a major issue that we had with the movie that we will not talk about, that Deadpool did fix in Deadpool 2 by basically taking out Ryan Reynolds. But we all remember the horrendous, ugly CGI suit that whoever at DC thought that was a good idea was not a good idea. James Gunn has sat there and said very quickly, because he did answer a fan, and I love this about James Gunn. He has no problem. I don't know if this man has a team or he just said forget sleep. But the fact that a fan on Twitter was like, will Guy's suit be real, CGI, or both? James Gunn replies, I can't remember ever having a CG suit unless it was on a CG character. So, with that being said, he has already sat there and said that there will be no CG suits in his show that's going to be produced in the DC universe. Well, I am completely okay with that. But what are you going to say, Joe?
Well, I don't think that's what he's saying there. I think he's like, if it's not a CG character, it won't have a CG suit. So humans and whatnot, no normal suit, normal Lacra superhero suit. Well, but Kilowog or Salic or...
But let's be honest. Do we really want to see that?
I mean, on Kilowog, yes. Not exactly that, but Kilowog will need an actual CG suit. It won't be to that degree, but it will be a CG suit on a CG being.
That reminds me of Automan, and that's saying a lot. For all those that are me and Joe's age and up, if you watch Sci-Fi Channel, you'll know exactly the show I'm talking about. That literally with the whole trace line suit reminds me of that show altogether. But I do like the fact that you might, and I can understand that, Joe, to a certain extent, that some of the Lanterns may need an animated suit just because of the character makeup. I get that. I just hope that it's better than this. That's
I hope so too. I mean, we don't know what Lanterns we're getting outside of Guy and John.
Right.
So we can have a lot of humanistic characters, because a lot of the characters in Green Lantern, despite them being aliens, are vaguely humanoid. It's only really, really specific characters that are fully non-human, like the bald people Green Lantern that seems to die every single time he gets into a fight. Mm-hmm. Salic, Mogo, which Mogo is just a planet, so you don't have to have a suit at all. They'll definitely have, if they put in Chip will have to have a CGI suit, unless someone wants to get a actual squirrel puppet and knit a little bitty Green Lantern suit for that squirrel. Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. But it'll be interesting. I don't mind that. For some of these characters, I could see that. But like I said, if you're going to literally have Guy, which they didn't say, I mean, like you said, we don't know what Guardians we're getting, but I would like to think whether it's Guy. Oh, we do? Oh, we do? Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's Guy and John.
Okay, it's Guy and John. Okay, well then I hope Guy and John. My mind completely slipped.
Or no, that's the
But
old show. It's Hal and John for the show, Guy for the movie.
Gotcha. So yeah, so you're gonna watch it with Hal in there, knowing your hatred toward him?
Yeah, I'm watching it because I was supporting the Green Lanterns. If it was just a Hal Jordan show,
Mhm.
God no. Unless it's like Green Lantern the animated series, because that was like wonderfully done.
Fair enough.
Also, he was so not Hal Jordan that thing it hurt.
Yeah, that's fair. But either way, James Gunn, like I said, we got a lot of hope for DC, especially with the fact of what he's doing, especially with Superman Legacy, with Green Lantern, with the Green Lantern show, and many other projects he's doing. Again, I just hope we don't get this. That's all I'm saying. But not sticking with DC because we don't want to go to that yet. Let's go to some happy news first before we got to talk about the dark side. Ghostbusters.
Dark side.
we got to talk about that dark side, the other dark side of the MCU we got to get to. But Ghostbusters, I do want to talk about this because this is actually the most updated movie poster for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. As you can see, completely covered in ice. You see ghosts. You see a particularly looking big bad back there, which I'm assuming is a big bad. They didn't really say that it was. And of course, you have our heroes in parkas along with others, which we do see. We can make out at least the first 1, 2, 3, 4 people. But you notice that there's at least 1, 2, 3 other people farther out that we're not sure of. Now, is this speculating? Absolutely not. But I do like the fact from the poster, and we actually have some more news about this that Joe did discover, and I want him to go over that. But poster-wise, I love it. I mean, it's exactly what we think. It's exactly what as Ghostbuster fans, whether you're new or old, whether you remember the ones that were made back in the late 80s, early 90s, or it's your first experience post Afterlife. Love the movie poster. But Joe, there is more news associated with this because we did find out there's more about the plot. So what's going on with that?
I love the poster with the exception of Slimer, which is very clearly a PNG just tossed into this poster.
Yeah.
The more you look at it, it's just very obviously someone like copy and pasted and did a slight tilt.
Why can
blend transparency onto it?
Not to cut you off, but why can't Slimer get his own poster? He's iconic in himself.
Why does he need to be on the poster at all?
He's Slimer.
And?
Damn, you got no love for Slimer?
Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters ruined the Real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but damn, we're gonna let him get him in a poster. I'm sorry.
It's one of those things. It's like if we're trying to move step forward away from the old stuff, then don't bring in the old stuff. I don't mind if Slimer's there because he's gonna do something with Bill Murray. Like there's gonna be a moment.
I mean, Slimer's like the mascot of the series. I understand the whole thing about moving forward. Don't get me wrong, but Slimer's the mascot. You're gonna have something about him in every Ghostbusters movie.
Like my only problem is it just really stands out in this poster that it was a copy paste job.
I'll agree with you on that.
You look at the other posters, he is nowhere on there.
Oh, I'll completely agree. That is the worst. That is the worst copy and paste this side of Microsoft. I'll completely agree with you on that. He does deserve better, but yeah.
Now, what was the other news that I was talking about?
About the plot that we found out that where the setting is going to be for this, as far as it being post Gozerian.
Oh yeah. No, this is after Afterlife. The Spengler family, which may or may not include Paul Rudd. We don't know how far out this actually is in the timeline. This could be literally the summer after it, like it says in the video game, or this could be like a year after Afterlife. We do know we are closing in on close to 9 active Ghostbusters in this movie. Kamar Mangiani, that other dude, the Spengler family, plus Ray, Winston, and Venkman, which I think, and Lucky. So we're closing in on like 9 busters. So like half of them have to get taken out or have to be incapacitated at some point for this.
I still say we're going to see Oscar. I still think Oscar.
I bet it's going to be one of those things where like Oscar's checking in on Peter or something.
It would, but I think it would be not to say that it would be corny, but you gotta think that'd be full circle for him to come around and be a Ghostbuster for a baby that was possessed.
Well, we do know that the gentleman with the blonde hair is not Oscar. He does have a different name tag. So
Right.
he is a brand new character, possibly a connection to the video game, possibly something else. He to be a wholly individual character. So, I'm all for it. I said my only problem with the thing is the PNG copy and paste of Slimer. I don't mind that he's there. I mind that he's there poorly.
Yeah, that's just again, I'll agree with you. It was that to me, if you're going to put Slimer, at least give him a post of his own where it's a little bit better than a post cut job. That to me was like, yeah, that's cheesy and a bit of a rush job. But again, we're looking forward to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Don't have a release date as of yet, but we're fairly certain it's going to happen sometime next year.
I'm gearing up. Oh no, we know what it is. It's March 28th.
Oh, there was a release date. Oh, then yes, I apologize.
I will, if I am lucky and everything aligns right, I will be at the movie premiere.
Cool. Oh, well, you being a part of the Nashville Ghostbusters, I would say so.
I don't know if it's going to be in New York or LA. They have yet to tell us, and they probably won't tell us till 3 days beforehand, but I will be ready.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm looking forward to it. So we still got a little bit of news when we get to the elephant in the room with the MCU. But first, Insomniac has a problem. I don't know who that hacker is because, we do know the fate of the one that hacked the GTA 6 clips.
Yeah. He has an interesting sentence.
Yeah.
The GTA guy is indefinitely imprisoned in a hospital because he is mentally unfit to stand trial and said if released, he will return to hacking. So in Britain, he is interred into a hospital permanently and cannot leave.
That to me, when I saw that, I was like, so let me get this straight. This guy leaked 90 clips of GTA 6. We all thought he had moved on to the greater pastures. And
this is not him. This is a different company. This is
I don't know. It's not Insomniac. Oh, no, like I said, it's not Insomniac. Not before. We're gonna get to Insomniac in a minute, but we want to talk about that GTA 6 first. It was just the fact of that man. We all thought he was gone. It was like the way most gaming companies send out people come up missing, and the fact this man is now going to spend the rest of his days in a secure mental facility. Wow. Which kind of leads me to the next thing about Insomniac, because Insomniac was recently breached, and the people or person, we don't really know, so we're just going to say possible group, decided to not only hack Insomniac, but decided to basically give us a lot. Whereas we saw actual gameplay, but we won't play it here because, again, we don't want Insomniac coming after us. So
support them wholly. Yeah. They've got hit with a ransomware attack. And as always, as you always say, you don't negotiate with terrorists.
Pretty much.
And they released like a bunch of stuff.
And that's the thing. It's like not only they release a lot of stuff, and like I said, whoever the individual or group that is associated with this, we got nothing to do with you. The clips, we're not even going to say where the clips are. If you're smart with Google, you will find those clips, play them however you want to. We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. We will, however, talk about the fact of not only do we know about Marvel's Wolverine and that they did show gameplay, and there are clips, if you choose to view them, that's on you. However, we did also find out that there are some planned games. Marvel's Venom in 2025, Marvel's Wolverine in 2026, Marvel's Spider-Man 3 in 2028, a new Ratchet & Clank in 2029, Marvel's X-Men in 2030, and a new IP that is scheduled somewhere between 2031 and 2032. So Insomniac has not said a lot outside the data breach. They have yet to confirm those games at those dates. At this time, we do not know. It's possible. At the same time, I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Joe?
They released a statement today and pretty much confirmed everything.
Oh, they turned around and did confirm it.
Thank you for the support. We were going through a very rough time. We wanted to come out as these things as a surprise. please bear with us as we try to right the ship, and we thank you for your support. So it's one of
Okay,
those
so they confirm
soft confirms, but like it's tied up in NDA stuff to where they give you like, no, this is pretty much it, but we're really sorry. Nothing, we can't really officially confirm everything, but yeah, it's pretty much true.
Now, again, with that being said, and hey, Hieroglyphics, thanks for watching. Don't they got a Blade game too? Yes. Now, the Blade game, I don't think is being done by Insomniac. I think it's being done by a different company. So I don't think
It
it's
is
part of Insomniac.
Bethesda and being done by the people that made Deathloop and Dishonored.
Okay, so
Is
it's
working on the
Bethesda,
Blade
and then
stuff.
so it's Crystal Dynamics and Bethesda then.
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, because Crystal Dynamics made shoot. Now now I can't remember the games now. But
It's
yes.
Arcane Lion.
Thank you. So yeah, so Blade is being made Hieroglyphics, but it's being made by somebody else. I'm not mad about Insomniac. Yes, you gotta do some damage control, but if you're telling us this is what you're coming out with a Venom game, a Wolverine game, which you already know about. We know Marvel Spider-Man 3 will be Miles Ross moving forward. You've already announced that months ago. A new Ratchet and Clank. I would love Ratchet and Clank. That's actually one of my favorite genres that after a rift in time, I want to see another Ratchet and Clank game. I'm not mad about that at all. We're also getting Marvel's X-Men, and again, some new IP in 2031 to 2032. I'm not against any of that. They also did mention that there's going to be some online, so let's say multiplayer options for some of the games, possibly Spider-Man 2, Wolverine Online, X-Men Online for 2024, 2026, 2028. I'm not a big multiplayer fan outside of shooters, but hey, whatever rocks your boat. I'm one of those ones that if a game has a storyline and a campaign, it's one player, leave it at that. I mean, they tried to do that with The Last of Us, and you saw what happened with that. The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, again, both great story, narrative-driven story games that are one player, and people were screaming for multiplayer. I'm sorry, this is not Call of Duty. This is not Call of Duty. This is not Apex Legends. This is not those multiple shooter games that involve a fire team, which again, I'm not against those. They have their place, but not every game needs multiplayer. And in Insomniac's case, if this is what they're doing, I'm not against this at all. And before I get your opinion on this, Joe, also it has been suggested that Spider-Man 3 may launch in two parts, which part 1 for holiday 2027 and part 2 for holiday 2028. So that's going to be interesting that they're possibly thinking of doing a part 1 and part 2 for video games. But Joe, what's your opinion about all this?
First off, I do like that Venom is getting the title Venom Lethal Protector. That does lead to some very heavy implications on things.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men, we know where I stand with them. We talk about them quite a bit on the show.
Pretty much.
I only ask of one thing. I want to be able to play as Magic. I just bullied people in Marvel Midnight Suns as Magic. We've seen the videos. I am a bully with that woman.
Yeah, that's fair.
As for the multiplayer, they say I don't know if this got canceled or not, and these are just like spec options and stuff, photos that we found, or if it's mock-ups or whatnot, but having a GTA online style and being a custom-made spider person,
yeah,
and then being put into roles to where it affects your webbing, your swinging, your attack, and your abilities, I am actually pretty okay with that, because that means I can just pick the Scarlet Spider role and just keep on going.
okay.
I get upgraded gadgets and special webbing powers and not much else. I don't exactly know what like other people would get. I think we have a picture of it that shows the selection screen, proposed selection screen. I can get to you.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. If we got it.
So, like, they're proposing that. I'm not opposed to it. I would certainly give it a try just to be my own spider person in there. Because, I mean, everybody did that Spider Sona thing for a while when Into the Spider-Verse came out. I know that the DLC may have gotten leaked, which it would be Carnage, Spider-Verse, and one other thing that escapes my mind at the moment. Carnage is kind of obvious. We saw that coming. The end of the Spider-Verse thing we also saw coming. That's a no pun intended loose thread that wound up in Spider-Man 2. As for it being released into two-part Spider-Man 3, I can understand why. Because if it were up to me to split into two parts, the first part would be a limited contained version of Superior Spider-Man where Otto trades minds with Peter, and Miles and Silk have to take on a evil Peter. And then at the end of that, we find out it's the Normans taking the Goblin Serum. So part 2 is Peter, Miles, and Silk taking on the Green Goblin. Because this whole franchise has been leading to the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Or possibly Eddie Brock, Miles, Silk, and Peter taking on the Goblin.
Either way, it's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, like there's no way they're not going to hit Superior Spider-Man. Like that's just too much money. That'd be like them having the opportunity to do Spider Island and not taking it.
Oh, hey Tafari, I'd happily move to a Marvel video game universe if the Cinematic one keeps failing. I mean, it's starting to head that way anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised by that. But I think Insomniac has a lot of great things going. Does it suck that the data breach did kind of spoil some surprises? Yes. Are these good surprises? Remains to be determined. But if you like the clips that you can go see on your own in your own time, again, we're not sharing them because we don't want Insomniac coming after us. Because we like breathing personally. But that being said, it looks like for the news they showed, it's going to be great. So I guess we just have to wait that one out. But I think we might as well go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I was going to bring this picture up because Joe had this picture up earlier this week in our group chat. It felt appropriate, but we might as well talk about it because again, everybody else has. What am I talking about? I am talking about Kang is no more. Jonathan Majors, if you've been following or if you've been anywhere near a television screen, did have his trial and was found guilty of assault and harassment. And right after the guilty verdict, Marvel sat there and decided that they need to part ways.
Marvel wasted no time on that. Like the moment he was found guilty on 2 of the 4 charges, it was almost like immediate.
Oh yeah, that was the quickest. We no longer need your services anymore ever.
No, the new meme going around is from the Kirk Van Houten firing. It's like, that's it. After all this, good luck, so long and good luck. And it has a picture of Kevin Feige. I don't remember saying good luck.
Right, but Joe had found one because let's be honest, the internet has no chill and wastes no time. If you've seen this, number one, that was genius. Whoever did that, by the way. I'm not mad about that at all. It is funny to me because if you've seen Tropic Thunder, number one, great movie if you haven't already seen it. Robert Downey Jr. killed it as Lincoln Osiris in that movie. So it only makes sense that if you've seen Tropic Thunder, you get the joke. That's all I'm just saying. But
I had to ask several friends, it's like, is this appropriate?
Oh yeah. This is fine. This is, like I said, this wasn't even 5 minutes in, and this wasn't even 5 minutes in, it's already posted. So this is fine. I
thought you were gonna post the Tree of Might one.
Oh, that's too soon. That's too soon. But with that being said, guys, Marvel, because they are dropping Kang, does leave a question. Now, we do know MCU-wise, the only movie that's coming out next year is Deadpool 3. That also being said, Marvel did have Kang set up as the next big bad to tell a host of stories through. Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty was all set up to basically be him being the big bad of this multiverse saga. Now that that's not happening, MCU, Kevin Feige are all probably sitting in a TP somewhere in the middle of nowhere in a bunker going, we got to figure this out. And the question was brought up. First was brought up in Blurred's Eye View, as far as what can be done. And I'm going to bring it here as well, because it's a conundrum that Marvel faces right now. Because Majors for his role, I thought he did well in Quantumania. I thought he did well in Loki. But now that he's no longer going to be playing the Conqueror, what happens now? Do we recast, or do we pull, or as I like to call it, do we reach for the emergency glass and break it? But Joe, I wanted your opinions on that first. Do you think we should recast Kang, or does the MCU need to go ahead with this time that they have and pivot, or go a different route?
Well, first off, I'll say this. Kang lasted longer than Black Adam.
True. Very true.
So there's power landscape thing. So, we are in a quandary here for that. I would say we recast, but we do not break that emergency glass, or we pivot away from Kang, or we can dovetail it into Kang in an interesting way. We don't immediately go to Doom. I feel like everybody just wants to immediately go to Doom because we know Secret Wars is coming. And the fact that Kang Dynasty has now been retrofitted back to Avengers 5. My thing to do would be not to reach for Doom, but to go to the High Evolutionary. He is not dead. He was much loved. We can even dovetail of him being a Kang variant if we really want to reach, because it's the MCU, so they can do their own thing. They can say the High Evolutionary is a Kang variant in this. Is the Kang variant for this MCU? Because Kang was not technically ever in the MCU proper. He was in the microverse, which is a whole different dimension. And in Loki, he is different variants of Kang. So he was never in that technically. So we can go with the High Evolutionary, which I think is a good idea. If we want to take the recast route, I would toss my hat in, and I keep seeing a lot of people wanting to use Terrence Howard as a joke.
Yeah, that's been thrown around a lot.
I actually would put in Omar Sy from Lupin.
That was also a suggestion that was brought up.
That is my thing, because that man is a wonderful actor. I'm very much enjoying Lupin on Netflix, and think he would bring the same gravitas and charisma that Majors carried with Kang, and probably maybe even be a bit better, because he can probably play that forceful role and threatening role just a little bit more, less angry warlord, more smile as I'm throttling you.
Okay, so before you go deep into the recast, I got to ask you this. So your suggestion outside of recasting is to basically use the High Evolutionary because technically he's not dead. Would he be a stopgap measure, or would you use him for the extent that Kang was being used?
I would use him for the extent Kang was being used, and let Doom go after him for his technology.
Okay.
Because he was a very, very good villain. He was up there. It wasn't like Thanos up there, but he was a very enjoyable villain. And I didn't hear anybody say anything bad about the acting, the casting, or the portrayal in the movie. He was wonderful as a villain.
Oh yeah, High Evolution. The guy, I forgot his name already, but the guy who played him, again, great actor, loved and respected all around. But if it was me, I would love, like I said, if you're gonna, it's like I'm one of those ones that's like Marvel. I'm thinking long term here. Marvel has a year. Marvel has a year, possibly 2 years, because they have television series They have television series coming out. They necessarily do not have to produce a movie, and I think that's the thing that people feel like after Deadpool 3 comes out next year, that between 2025 and 2026, that Marvel has to produce a movie. I don't think they need to. I think that Marvel can take this break and reschedule it, redraw the map properly. I'm not saying not to get rid of. I'm not saying again. I'm sticking to the replacing option one, replacing him with another bad. Now, if you're going to take that much time, let's just speculate here. If you're going to take 2-3 years post Deadpool 3 for the next Marvel movie, this is why I keep on saying the emergency glass break and the emergency glass, because the crowd favorite out of everybody is Doom, because if you bring Doom, you have to do Fantastic Four. Nobody's mentioned the X-Men, which again, I'm not against it, because once you do launch the X-Men, you're basically going to have the MCU surrounding them. I mean, they're going to be their own nexus point, to be honest. But if Doom was my go-to, because I want to see what they would do with Doom. I want to see who they would cast as him. I want to see how they would portray him, hopefully properly, because he's one of the most infamous villains in the MCU. If they didn't go the Doom route, I mean, when you think about it, there's not too many villains currently in the MCU that you can use to replace it. Now, could you use somebody different? Could you bring in the one that we all talked about? Could you bring in Mephisto? Yes, you could bring in Mephisto if you wanted to, because we talked about him. Again, he's one of those. I say this as a plug. Not as a solution. You can bring in an unknown that everybody did not see coming and go that route, or you can bring in Doom, because you got to think whatever you do post this break past Deadpool 3, it's got to be a home run. It's got to be a home run regardless. It's got to not only the person that you cast, the movies that follow have to be all home runs, because at this point, people have already sit there and said, we don't want movie after movie after movie if the quality suffers. We want to get back to actual storytelling, and don't be afraid to go there. Now that's just me on that one, because I was one of those ones that like, look, Doom right now is your saving grace to keep the banks open, to keep Disney happy, honestly. But I love the fact that you thought like I did. I would love to see the guy from Lupin actually play Kang. Like, if you're gonna recast Kang, get someone like him. The man has range. I would even go with, I dare I say, Giancarlo Esposito. I would love to see him as Doom. I think his plate's a little full right now. I mean, he's already got his hands everywhere. I mean, because he's still going to be the Mandalorian in some form or fashion. He's not dead over there. His character on Mandalorian is not dead. So he's got his hands full if it was me. But there's plenty of other actors that you can put in that place of Kang that could still have Kang, and you can still tell the story. You can still tell the variant story. And that's the things I'm getting at. Like, for that simple fact of the matter, that you could tell that story, and at the same time, you can keep the Kang going if that's the route that you decide to take. Now, on the other side of it, if you do got to replace with a big bad, it has to be somebody that's going to be a brand name. Unfortunately, you don't have a James Gunn there that's going to be able to take an unknown or lesser known villain and put him to the level of Thanos. I mean, unless you have a director that's going to be able to do that successfully through movies.
My only problem with Giancarlo Esposito is that he is a man of age.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's out of the question that he could be like Immortus or even Ramatet. But to get him to be Standard King and Silver Centurion, and I only see, and this is just me, and this is only because he is older, I have no problem seeing him against space wizards with laser swords. Because let's face it, they are not the biggest, burliest people in the world. I would feel bad if I see Giancarlo Esposito on the other side of Thor's hammer trying to force it back, and I'm like, they're bullying that poor old man.
But at the same time, Doom never takes his mask off.
Oh yeah, but Doom also has the stature and the build and the magic. It's just like with Giancarlo Esposito, as I said, he's an old he's not like old, but he is an elderly man.
Yeah.
So it'd be like watching a Thor the Human Triangle swing a hammer at a gentle man who would just like put a hand up and stop it. I was like, they're bullying this poor man.
I could say that, but that would be interesting. What's Party say? Sal Jr. is going to be in middle school by the time we see him again, pretty much. Disney put the prayer knee pads on and start begging Boyega quickly. Boyega,
Oh no,
look,
Boyega has actually said no.
Boyega has literally sat there and said no, unless that number gets any higher.
No,
They've been asking.
actually, he said no to the point where he responded with a question with Donkey from Shrek shaking his head. John Boyega will not go back to Disney with how badly
Oh
they
yeah,
screwed him over in Star Wars.
and
Even
Tafari
he will not go to
said
Marvel.
they've been asking for Professor X. Yep, I can see him doing that role too.
No, I can see him as Charles. I cannot see him. Like I said, I can see him as Ramatut.
Uh-huh.
I can see him as Immortus. I cannot see him as King Prime.
No,
I need
that's fair.
someone a bit younger as King Prime. And that's just because I know it's the physicality aspect on my end. That is purely my thing. And I understand that sounds a little ageist, but it's one of those. He is definitely the dude I see at the end of time.
Ooh.
So they're going, it's like, well, that's cool.
What about Denzel Washington's kid?
As long as we do what we're doing in Monarch, where Denzel is Ramatut and Immortus, and Denzel's kid is Kang, so that we have the crossing aging aspect, like right there.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. That makes perfect sense.
I'm
Because
just
that's
saying.
what
I mean,
I'm about Monarch right now.
I mean, it's a long shot as it is, but still, I see your point. It's a long shot, but I see your point on
Here's
that.
the problem there is that we deny ourselves as Denzel as the Blue Marvel.
It's in Disney's hands. Disney could have gave us Disney could have gave us Blue Marvel 6 times over, honestly, by now. Denzel, the older Denzel gets, he's going to become Blue Marvel into Magneto at this point, just because of how he ages. But no, but really, just that's the question. It's like if you recast Kane, there's so many young actors out there that could do it with the range. And again, I'm not against the whole recasting. I hope they do it. And I hope, and it's like, if you don't go known, go some unknown actors. I would love to see an unknown actor get that big break and be the big bad. Hopefully we'll not run into the same issues that Majors did. Again,
that's why we're not really using Namor. He's got allegations against him too.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like the allegations. I was saying, I said it's the second coming of Me Too. That again, guys. It's like there's a lot of people getting some accusations put out there. Again, this ain't that type of podcast. You know, we can go find that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the whole thing. If I hope, and focusing on the positive, I do hope a unknown actor does get the chance to recast as Kang, and may that be his big break. We've always wanted to be in movies. Why not a superhero movie, whether you're the hero or the villain? So I can't knock that.
Or just Omar Say.
Huh?
Or just Omar Say. Let's just go with it.
Or just Omar. I mean, like I said, the man's got range. But speaking of things that have range or lack thereof, another movie, or I should say the last movie of the DCEU did come out today, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. However, with most movies, they usually get the whole red carpet treatment, press releases, stars making their rounds on television shows and things of that nature. Well, in this case, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom actually didn't get the quote-unquote red carpet treatment. They actually got a smaller gathering of reporters, friends and journalists to come watch the movie. Now, again, that movie is out. I haven't seen it. Joe, have you seen it?
I'm not seeing a baby getting killed.
Okay, so neither one of us have seen it. Now, the reason why I say that, guys, is because reviews have came out, and you guys know our opinion on reviews. Critics are paid to hate on things. Critics are paid to praise things. but I like to go by viewership. And right now, a lot of viewers are saying no. They're saying that some people sat there and said it was an extension of the first one. Some of it says that it was forced. Some said that the ending didn't make any sense. Again, we're not saying anything about the movie. Where I'm just actually just explaining the feedback that I'm getting from friends that I went to go see it. As you guys, what are you guys saying? Don't worry, guys. We got Madam Web and Craven the Hunter coming.
So
yeah,
this movie was so bad that Jason Momoa already came out and said, "Look, this movie is not going to be for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be for a core group of people, and I'm really happy you guys are going to enjoy that. But honestly, I don't think this is going to impress a lot of people." So even Jason Momoa is saying, "I am sorry, this is a bad film."
But he's got Lobo, so he's happy. But I mean, the first Aquaman, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, we liked the first Aquaman. We thought it was a nice way of telling the story. Not to make Arthur Curry look like a punk, because Super Friends did that for him. I'm just saying that the way they made him look, they did make him look like the weakest Justice League character. But the first Aquaman was great. Say what you would say, Joe?
Said, the powers of SpongeBob.
Pretty much. But the first Aquaman was great. The second one, because again, this was at a time where some people felt like, out of all the DC movies, that Aquaman probably had the most success, and that the second was supposed to follow up with this. And then we found out about the Amber Heard situation. We found out about the script writing. We found out about how they wanted to do this. Then the reshoots. Then she's back. Then, Jason Momoa meets with James Gunn and gets exciting news. We already know what that is. So it just, this kind of feels like the Flash movie. It was doomed from the start. I kind of want to still give it an honest watch. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's worth going to the movies for. I think for a movie like this, I'd rather wait for it to come to streaming, which we already know it's going to wind up being on HBO Max at some point. Hopefully not as fast as Black Adam, because Black Adam was on HBO Max within days, and I think that's the fastest. I think it's the fastest I've ever seen a DC movie go from the theaters to streaming in that amount of time. Now, again, this is just my opinion. I know Joe, like he said, he's not going to go see it. Please don't let our opinions influence yours. We like I said, if you like Joe said that Jason had quoted, this is maybe for a core group of fans. If you're in that core group of fans, hey, go enjoy it. You have every right to. We just don't want to be those types of guys that sit there and, trash something because it's cool, it gets clicks, it gets likes. That's not what we do here at Get Bent. But with that being said, I know for me, I'm just going to wait for it to come to streaming, but it's amazing that for it to be the last movie of the then now defunct DCEU, and now that we just have Gunn's universe, is it really bad to say RIP? Is it bad? Is it bad to put it that way, Joe? It's like RIP DCEU. You were a failed ship from Jump Street.
I mean, people were already going into defense mode, saying that that this movie does not count towards the Snyderverse. Snyderverse was only these select movies, and everyone's like, "No, this is it." Like, this is the final Snyder, because it doesn't have anything to do with Snyderverse. Like, it's the Snyderverse Aquaman and the Snyderverse Atlantis and the Snyderverse Mirror, despite what people will think of Amber Heard, yay or nay. This is the final Snyderverse movie. You don't get to pick and choose for your thing. This is the final Snyderverse movie. It's whatever. I don't care. Let's toss it over the shoulder and keep walking forward. Make sure it hits the trash can. Don't litter.
Damn. Speaking of trash cans, what do you say, Safari? Pre-orders are already out for the collector's edition of Aquaman for $60 at Walmart. Twice what they would normally charge. Best Buy killed the competition, and Wally World wasted no time. Damn. And again, that's only coming from the fact that, there's also just really quickly, there is an attack on digital media, guys. Like, Sony had reversed their decision because of everybody. For example, if you purchase things on the PlayStation Network, and Sony had sat there and said just last week that, hey, If you bought Discovery episodes on PlayStation, you don't own them, even though they are on your system. Well, PlayStation did reverse that, and they said, we love, quote unquote, we love the interaction and the comments we get back from the fans. That's another way of saying you almost lost your entire fan base because you decided you wanted to be dicks. That to me is interesting. But yeah, still will give Aquaman a run. Just won't do it in the movie theaters. Why? Because, well, inflation in time. I mean, to go to movie theaters these days, it's not cheap at all. Whether it's 2 people or 4, it's definitely not cheap. So yeah, a lot of people are getting very selective on what movies they decide to go see. Unfortunately for me, Aquaman The Last Kingdom, it just, to me, doesn't fit the bill. It really doesn't. But something you should be aware of as well, because again, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur for the MCU, they actually did release their next guest list for season 2 stars. Just to go ahead and give you a quick rundown for season 2 for the guest list: Jonathan Banks, Sung Woon Cho, please forgive me if I mispronounce that, Cynthia Evero, Giancarlo Esposito, Andy Garcia, Arsenio Hall, Ann Harada, Jack A. Harry, Manny Jacinto, Carol Kane, Zola Morita. Oh, I know I messed up that last name. That was way too many vowels and not enough consonants. And I apologize, Blue Beetle. I know who you are, sir. I apologize profusely. Alex Newell, Edward James Olmos, Parker Posley, Ephraim Sykes, David Tennant, Robin Thede, and Peter Weller. That is the guest list for season 2 of Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Me and Joe have both seen season 1, completely freaking loved it. If you haven't,
soundtrack is on my Spotify list.
Yeah, soundtrack is definitely fire. Just because of I think Childish Gambino actually did help a bit with the soundtrack, if memory serves me right.
Surprisingly, his song is not on there though, but I can understand why. Full song is not age appropriate.
Oh, of course not. But again, if you haven't seen Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, highly recommend that you should. It is definitely kid friendly. I love the fact of how actually showed it. You know, they wanted. You know, if you're going to show to me the smartest person in the MCU, that's the best way to do it. It actually make it to where it's family friendly and everybody could enjoy it. And again, it's a well done Marvel Disney collaboration on that. But with a season 2 guest list like that just reminds me it's going to be interesting. That's all I can sit there and say. But speaking of interesting, Marvel season 2, what if? Did we see this coming? And yes, we're going to talk about it. So before I get into it, yes, we are going to talk about Marvel season 2, what if Nebula had joined the Nova Corps. Spoilers ahead. If you have not seen this, and I am saying this because, again, I know a lot of people haven't. If you have not seen this, now is the time to mute us and give us a few minutes because we're going to talk about it. But Joe, have you had a chance to watch episode 1?
Well, this is awkward because now I have to mute you.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, damn. I am sorry. Okay. Well, we're going to...
We can still go through it. It's Nova Corps. Nothing, unless you're Nova, nothing ever good happens to the Nova Corps.
Well, the thing about it is this had such and I'm just gonna be honest about it. This had such a Blade Runner Sin City feel, but I loved it. That they kind of told a different story of Nebula, that she was actually rescued by Nova Corps, that she was actually introduced to the Blackguard, that you did actually see some guest characters. I'll leave it at that. There are some guest characters in this episode. I will not name them, but they definitely did make the show. At the same time, I like the fact that Nebula really got her own episode, in so much more that she almost played a certain Nova Corps officer, which again, if I have to say any more than that, I wonder about your charades playing ability. Now, of course, they didn't suggest that she was that person, but again, very distinctive qualities. That's I'm just going to leave it at that. But overall, it was a great episode of What If. I love the fact that What If is not just sticking to a certain timeline. They are going all over the place with episode 1. So let us know in the comments if you've seen it, whether you liked it, you didn't like it. Personally, for me, I thought it was great. Joe, my apologies. I forgot. I didn't know.
I had the option of watching it or taking a nap, and like an adult in his 40s, I took that nap.
Fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. But no, you're gonna like it. I thought it was great. But then again, there hasn't been a bad What If episode. I mean, even last season was still great. So I can only imagine season 2, they had a lot of time to really go into it. And again, Karen Gillian does voice Nova in this, does voice Nebula in this. So again, great. Cannot have no arguments whatsoever. As we are getting a new episode, I believe every Friday.
Every day. It's every day.
It's every day. Oh,
every
so
day.
we're gonna get one today. So that means we should be getting one today then. No, scratch that.
This
Monday.
is today's episode.
I was gonna say every day. I said no. If they give us one Saturday and Sunday, I highly doubt it. So it'll be Monday.
No, they are. It's supposed to be one a day.
Oh, so we'll be getting one tomorrow then as well. Okay, then. I apologize profusely. I thought Marvel was going to stick with the Monday through Friday route. My apologies. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. Let you guys know what you think in the comments about that. And also Percy Jackson and the Olympians. For all those, because I know a lot of people are really waiting to see that, I am going to say it's highly recommended. I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying okay because I was hearing it was getting panned.
It was getting what? It was getting what, Joe?
Panned.
No, it actually was good. I was highly impressed with it. And you know what it is? Because I was hoping because of the books. The books were actually great. I mean, get me wrong, books were awesome, but the fact of how they did the live action. Don't get me wrong, the first live action was great. The Lightning Thief and the Sea of Monsters, love those movies, no issue with them. But I love the fact that the direction they're taking with this one, especially with the storytelling. It is slightly more darker, but at the same time, it's not overbearing. And again, it's 2 episodes out there right now. I liked both of them, but again, let me know in the comments what you think. I had no issue with them. I highly recommend watching them. But no. It's a strong series, Joe. I'm going to be honest with you about that. It's a very strong series.
Okay.
But with that being said, guys.
Sorry.
Say what?
I didn't get to watch Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, I want your opinions on that. I didn't bring it up because I was going to save that, but go ahead.
I have my problems with it. Ultimately,
Okay.
I think it's very good, but I think that they rushed too much and that ultimately underserved both Genkai and Toguro. I did not want them to go directly into the Dark Tournament. I wanted season 1 to end leading into the Dark Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 2 be nothing but the Dark Tournament, because the Dark Tournament is so broad and expansive. You have such a list of characters that are important to the tournament itself that I feel like it could have been its own season. And as I said, it just really underserves Genkai because she's just there. It's like, I'm training you. And now I'm dead. And then totally just underportrays Toguro.
See, I can see that. I really could, because I think what they were doing was the same thing they're doing with One Piece. I think they were trying to give the average non-reader or non-anime watcher a glimpse into this. And that's where I'm just like, I can understand it, because the training with Genkai was definitely short. But at the same time, a choice was made because of what they were going with the story. Now, was it the right one? Probably not, because again, like you said, Genkai got short. Genkai's training arc did get shorted.
Now, I do like that they added Kuwabara to the training arc, but then that comes to me where, I'm not going to want them to do the Saint Beasts. That's too much effort and too much on their job. They did get the Makai insects, which from the Saint Beast arc, which ultimately led to Yusuke being killed and whatnot. I'm not spoiling anything. That's literally the first 2 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
If you don't know that your main character starts dead, like in Dickens, that's on you, not us.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could have at least done a condensed version of the Genkai arc and the Genkai tournament with Rando, and that gives Kuwabara some of his wins. Mm-hmm. Because that's the other part I don't like about taking away some of the stuff, is it takes away from Kuwabara. And the Dark Tournament also has some good stuff with Kuwabara, which expands on his character
Yeah.
more. So like that's kind of where I wanted them to pull them back and just like let the Togoros be in the background because they were setting up just fine. Like the setup was fine.
Yeah.
So just have the Togoros like, oh, this kid's going to be one to look out for because he won the Genkai tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's how I would have set it up. Like, I did not like that we got like.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like you said, I just didn't like that we got the full dark tournament right into it. That was my issue.
Well, that's my thing. Is just that I agree. Like I said, I think they had to make a decision. I think that's why I was saying they had to make a decision on exactly how they want to do this with the episodes that they have, because it really wasn't a lot. But again, I'm not knocking it, but still a good series. Again, in the comments, let us know what you guys think about Yu Yu Hakusho on Netflix. It is definitely highly recommended. That being said, guys, that's really going to do it for our news. Joe, I see that your comic books are ready, sir. So you can go ahead and take off with that.
You haven't watched Monarch yet?
Not yet. I'm waiting on it. Not yet, though. But go ahead, sir, with the comics. Go ahead and go with the comics. I'll just be right back.
All right, first issue, not episode. We're jumping around a little bit this week, guys. Usually we go DC, Marvel, Indies. Not a lot of Indies came out because it's like the final week before Christmas, so a lot of stuff is coming out. We are looking at Vader number 41. This is part of Dark Droids. Vader got hacked in the last episode, and in this issue we learned that through the use of the Force, he got free of the hacking and is slowly been able to reprogram the droid that hacked him to where he can take over any of the dark droids that got hacked using the Force. I'm going to chalk that up to Vader being Vader. And now he controls his own droid army against not only the droid empire, but now a splinter faction group of the empire itself, as they were revealed in this issue. So I guess after Dark Droids, Vader's going against a rogue faction of the empire that's going against the emperor and wanting to rule itself. It's not too bad. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Raphael Anico and colors by Federico Blee. Dark Droids is continuing, and honestly, it's been pretty good. I've been enjoying it. Again, I wish these books would just condense it to at least 3 titles. I say this every time. They go way, way too broad with this stuff, and really should have only kept it to Star Wars, Vader, and Afra. Speaking of Afra number 39, also part of Dark Droids. This is written by Alyssa Wong with art by Ming-Q Jung and art by Rachel Rosenberg. That was odd. Sounded like my chopper just said something. Oh god, the Dark Droid is here. That's bad. I should have bad.
Oh, what are you talking about, Joe? I'm sorry. What you said?
I was talking about Dr. Afra, and I thought my chopper said something, and I'm like, well, that's bad. My chopper's been infected.
Your chopper is like the worst. That is the worst timing for your chopper to kick in as you're literally talking to Dr. George Saga. That's either terrible timing or you're going to put it down.
Yeah. I can't put that thing down.
You got to put that.
So this is the penultimate issue to Afra. As I learned, Afra ends next issue. So Afra will be ending totally after closing out the Dark Droid saga. Pretty much they're just all trying to get out and being affected. Scourge infected world of Epiconia. God, I love these names.
Yeah.
Where Tovan and the other cyborgs have been infected. Domina has shot her air out into space to avoid being infected, as she has some minor cybernetics and potentially being hacked, but using her indomitable willpower to keep the infection at bay. Maybe it was Obi I heard when on the speaker. Maybe that's what that was.
If you heard Obi, because Obi just woke up, so you probably heard him just literally yell before I could mute it. So that's probably what you heard.
That's probably what it was. It's like, should I be worried?
I was gonna say that'd be
Good
impressive.
book, good book, good art. I'm kind of bummed that Afra is ending next issue, but I think this is probably one of the most successful runs they've had with her, and she is a wonderful character to do.
Yeah. Also just to reverberate, just to go back one, Darth Vader versus the Scourge probably is the best thing going on with Dark Droids. The fact that Vader is basically re-engineering his own technology against him. Like I said, I thought that was just good. And Afra was interesting because it's, I kind of saw her going that route, but both were good books. I dig them.
Jumping over into DC, we got Godzilla versus Kong versus the Justice League issue 3. This is written by Brian Belisado with art by Christian Deuce and colors by Luis Guerrero. Just more monster fight in this one. Looks like Godzilla has killed Superman. The Justice League and Justice Society are taking on Godzilla, with some remnants taking on a Cthulhu crab creature over in Central City with Barry and Hal. Ollie and some of the other people, Ollie and Supergirl on Skull Island, taking on Kong, which Kong was actually kind of like chill about it till Supergirl punched him. Then that started the fight all over again. Diana and Donna just like pretty much subdued the Mammoth Titan and just like talked to it for a hot second using their lassos. Like, can you just like go? We don't want to cause you any trouble. We don't need any trouble from you. And the Mammoth Titan's like, okay.
And just slowly walked off. And then the most confused looked like, I think he got the message.
Like, and then of course he got them because Batman. They caught the giant bat thing. It's just a big slugfest at this point. And then Lex finds, I am unsure that's supposed to be like the eye of Mechagodzilla.
I thought that for a second, but I wasn't sure.
So this technically may be happening in between Godzilla and Kong in the upcoming movie, if that's the wreckage of Mechagodzilla.
Possibly. Oh, really, son? You're right in the face.
So not bad. Again, we are just reading this and promoting this because Godzilla just is reigning supreme over everything right now. In fact, Godzilla.
No, I was thinking about the fact that Shazam tried to sit there. I mean, Billy had sat there and let Superman get roasted, and all of a sudden he wants to fight Godzilla. That was interesting.
Well, but no, I mean, he does like electrocute him.
But don't get me wrong, it's a good story. It's a great story so far. I mean, the fact that you do have the kaiju kind of winning some battles. But the comments, those in the comic forums right now are going head to head over whether or not Superman can take a blast from Godzilla. That is an interesting conversation itself.
The answer is no. Yeah, on top of that, some minor Godzilla news. Godzilla -1 has been extended once again, so it's running for an additional 2 weeks. So a 1 week run has now run into a 1 month run. And also, it is now more profitable. It's become more profitable in America than it has in Japan. And Japan, it will supposedly be releasing a black and white version of the film in next year. So big props to that.
I mean, it is a great movie. It really Godzilla -1 really is a great movie.
Also, all the little comic book memes have been hilarious because -1 Godzilla is the smallest of the Godzillas, but the meanest of the Godzillas. He's just basically a gremlin compared to his older siblings of Shin and Legend Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I've been enjoying those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Superman, Superman #9. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Bruno Redondo and colors by Adriano Lucas. Superman is finally taking on Dr. Farm and Dr. Graff, who, after barely escaping with his life to fight with the Chained. Raph or the Farm, I forget which one is which, like, get into an armor and shoots Moon Knight Marilyn, which somehow teleports Clark into the back in time to when Farm and Graf were children, into like the 1910s, 1890s.
All I can say is make that make sense.
So it does make sense because there's an interview with Josh Williamson who said that the Superman book is going to be moving forward in its arcs through comic book history. So we get horror comics, we'll be getting pulp comics. Superman will now be doing Western comics.
Okay. I mean, the ending kind of made me go, "This is okay. This is what you're doing." I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm just gonna say maybe I just need to wait it out to see what happens.
I'm not a big fan of Westerns, so I do enjoy this book. I just am not a Western person. I don't know many people these days that are Western people in terms of media. Like, that has kind of gone the way of the cowboy.
Well, they tried that
on my part.
Well, they tried that with Star-Lord, and Star-Lord kind of got like a spaghetti Western feel, and that wasn't bad, but I'm just saying for him, it's like saying, so Moonlight's powers actually sent him back in time. That's interesting.
I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they're going with. Moonlight's powers basically include time travel now. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea. I'm just saying that maybe I just need to give the next issue a chance. Maybe the next issue will actually show why they're going this direction, in my opinion. But
it's gonna be like a 3-episode arc. So by issue 12, that will resolve everything, and they'll be on to their next thing. But
yeah,
I'm just not a cowboy person, so I don't know.
It'll be interesting. As I said, I will give it until I will give it to its next issue and just see what happens.
As gorgeous and as fun as this book is, I think I'm enjoying Action Comics more because it deals with Superman family more than just Superman. So I may jump ship soon. Not to say this book is bad, but it's one of those, I'm enjoying the family book more than I am the individual book.
Oh, I'm still waiting.
The individual book is a fantastic book. It's just one of those I need to scale back for monetary reasons.
I was going to say there's one book I'm still surprised you're keeping up with, but I see why, because it's telling a part of a bigger story, but I understand why.
We talking about Green Lantern?
Nope, Spider-Man.
Oh no, I put the book on the list so we can just crap on it tonight. That thing looks god awful.
Okay.
Now, the Green Lantern book actually was interesting because of the Howl book actually became interesting because Razor popped up in it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we learned a bit about Kilowog. So,
I have to get back on Green Lantern because I still want to give Green Arrow. I want to give Green Arrow a shot, considering the fact they're trying to make that the next run with Amanda Waller targeting him. So that's going to be interesting.
Which actually, that is no longer a limited series run. That is a full series run now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it went from a 6-issue to a 12-issue to a full ongoing.
Well, that shows a lot. That shows they have a lot of faith in that.
We're not looking at any of that. We're looking at Wesley Dodd Sandman, number 3 from last week. I suppose this week, because we did this week, and if anything I was going to cover was going to be this. We get a name for the evil Sandman. He is known as the Fog, which, while it's not the best name ever, this is a Golden Age book, so we will let that slide because, we had the Fog, the Mist, Starman.
Yeah. You only had
simple names.
You only had so much you could do back then. I'm just saying.
We weren't creative back then to have Negasonic Teenage Death Warhead.
That's true. Or Nuke.
This is written by Robert Venditti. I hate that they are so small every time. This is written by Robert Venditti with art by Riley Rossmo and colors by Ivan Placinia.
Listen, I'll go with that.
We'll go with that. Also, mildly graphic book, guys. My apologies, but this is a bit of a graphic book this time around. Just Wesley trying to figure out who torched his house and who took all the notes and all the gases he made. We learn it is the evil Black Sandman, black-coated Sandman. There's no other way of saying that. He's a Sandman who's in black attire, who is now going by the Fog, and Gas is Sandman, and Sandman is now probably as a result of this may be meeting. I was gonna say he could potentially be meeting Morpheus again.
Yeah, I can see that. Because the fact that it said Dream to the Dam, so that's probably about right. The next issue is gonna be Dream to the Dam.
This will mark, if that's the case, and this marks the second time that Wesley has met Morpheus, because we learn old school wise is that Morpheus is the reason why Wesley has prophetic dream powers. He can look into the dreaming and see a limited future by the blessing of dream.
Oh, cool. So they probably will wind up meeting each other.
Maybe. I hope so. What do you think?
No, it was a good one. I did like the fact that when I saw the Fog, I'm like, it's the Golden Age, guys in black. Let's just roll with it. I said, it's the Fog. Let's just roll with it. And the fact that Wesley pretty much took him down because he says, you think I just fight with gas? He said, I have a gun. He said, then Wes took his gun and said, I prefer hands. I respect him at that point. Any man that disassembles a gun and says, I prefer hands over guns. Cool. No, all kidding aside, it's I like this issue. I'm looking forward to the next one because again, it's so interesting to see Dodge struggle with the fact of his pacifism. But dude, you did create lethal gas and you wrote down how to do it. And now it's coming back to haunt you. But no, it's a good issue. I did like it.
Such a good book. Love it to death. Okay, so this may be the first Wonder Woman book we get to talk about that doesn't have a huge trigger warning advertisement beforehand. This is like the first one, I think. Like, this is issue 4. We don't have to say, hey, this may trigger some people. This one is actually not that bad. I mean, this could potentially still trigger some people, but like not to some people, yeah. Not to the extent it has been.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So this book is split into two. So Diana, half this book is Diana spending time with a kid named Jack, who, as you can see here, is kind of like a Make-A-Wish kid. Who also biggest dream is to go to Paradise Island, and Amazon's trying to stop her, and one was like, "I was a kid and humbled all of you. Please try now."
Hey, you saw it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nubia's substitute. It's like, just let her do what she wants.
That tells you a queen has learned. If it was like if Nubia and Hippolyta couldn't stop her, what am I gonna do?
Jack also comes out to Wonder Woman and just questions like, I'm not like my parent, not like all my friends who like Batman and Superman. I really enjoy you. Is God doing this to me because I am gay? And she's like, no, God, no. It's like, this is just how things are. And then of course, like Jack's like, you make a really good mom, and she's like, oh God, can you imagine me as a mother? That'd be terrifying.
And yet,
well, we'll get to that part. That I like the backup story. And the flip side of this book is we learn that the King of the United States of America, again, is definitely a Golden Age villain.
Yeah.
Is the close advisor to the current president of the United States, who is controlling him by the lasso of lies, and makes it to the point where the president goes on live television to denounce the Amazons and formally hold press charges against Wonder Woman while Wonder Woman's on Paradise Island doing this. So this was a fantastic book. The backup story was hilarious.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. You read that deserves a read. That alone by itself deserves a read.
They're all over at John's at the Fortress of Solitude, and they can't find Lizzie. And Lizzie, who is now 15 as opposed to 5, has gotten a hold of the Black Mercy just for fun. And because the Black Mercy will only attach to those that want pure joy and desire, they use Damien because Damien's apparently a joyless, soul-sucking teenager at this point. So he's like a natural glove. And all 3 of them are just, God, I love them. They're just like colossal dorks, all 3 of them.
That was funny. He's like, you be. It's like, what do you dream about? Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding? It's Diana's daughter, and peace and love. And she's like, yeah. That was it.
That's we could just leave it at that. But no, it was interesting about this issue. I like the fact that they are not afraid to go boundaries on this one. And like me and Joe said, there may be some that are gonna be triggered, but let's be honest, if you're triggered by what this comic is stating, something's wrong with you. That's all I can put it that way. Because again, it did cover some subjects that need to be covered, but that's what comics do. They break barriers, they cross boundaries, and they need to say what needs to be said. That being said, I love this issue. And if you don't like it, well, I mean, you can dislike it, but if you dislike it just because of the fact that they covered a child questioning whether or not that they're broken, then something may be wrong with you. But I digress. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. This is written by Tom King with art, which at this point, I promise you, and I have actually said this to him, and he has responded. I have told Daniel Sampere, you are the gold standard for comic book art in DC right now. And I truly and honestly believe that. And this is covered by Tomu Mori. And as we can see, like I said, there's no denying this is like the best artwork, the best art DC has in any book right now, hands down. I love this book. I will continue loving this book. I can't wait till we get more into the Lizzie stuff. I think I saw in previews for issue 5 because Daniel Sampere is releasing stuff on his Twitter, and honestly, I'm almost to the point where I'm just going to ask him if he can come on the show. Like, I don't know if we're big enough yet for that, but at least I'll swing for that fence and see what he says.
The nerd.
Just like I want to see if the Alan Scott Green Lantern guy wants to come on and talk. Like, I'm going to try and start swinging those bats and see what we hit.
I will say it profusely. Fire everything. Fire everything and see what hits.
Moving on, we are going to be looking at Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 40, Gangor.
I'm sorry.
The writing is not bad. I will say that. This is because we're looking at multiple fronts. I think Zeb Wells does a good job writing Tombstone. I think he does a good job writing She-Hulk. I don't know why he can't write Peter, but it's whatever. Bizarre costume change to female to Tombstone's daughter, who's now like some scary version of the Beetle.
She's like a mutated Beetle or something like that. Yeah.
The art just decimates my interest in this book. Like, the number of times the squiggle lines on She-Hulk where I can't tell if that is musculature, hair, or scales on She-Hulk.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not the only one. Like, there's a big surprise of who, because they're all gearing up because Tombstone's like, well, Fisk is coming, like the whole book. Yeah. And they keep like side paneling the Rose. And if you don't know who the Rose is Wilson Fisk's oldest or youngest son. I don't know because they introduced that half son, which I don't know.
I want to say the Rose is the oldest. I want to say that, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah, so they keep saying Fisk is coming, Fisk is coming. So we keep thinking it's the Rose coming for Tombstone's territory. Because if you can get control of Tombstone, Tombstone has everything. Meanwhile, Madame Mask has officially gained full control of the Magia or the Mafia. I don't. We'll just call them what they are. She's got full control of the actual Italian mob. And other things are going down. I think next week he's going to have the Chinese mob art war with Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, gang war with Shang-Chi. But like the art is so god awful. Like I can't pay attention to the words that are being said on the page because the art is bad.
Yeah. I'm surprised you stuck with it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's dedication.
Like the book is fine. Like the writing's fine for a change. I don't have a problem with Zebul's writing this one because he's doing okay with every person, but John Romita Jr. just needs to go. Like he's the bigger problem sometimes more than the writing.
Yeah,
this is not okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you because Spider-Man feels like a Lego block character, but you ain't wrong.
Oh my god, it's so
it's
awful.
Still funny. It's still funny.
It's so bad.
Oh, beyond.
So bad. I mean, we all know where this is going to end. Like, when they say this is coming, we know where this is going to end. We know who's going to be ruling the criminal underworld again. And we know that this is going to repeal the superhero law in New York. Like, we know the ending.
Oh, yeah.
Did you manage to make it through this?
Oh, I did. I mean, I did. I had to for the story, but the art, as you said, is horrendous. Story-wise, it makes sense, but you have to really focus on the story because the art is just horrendous. It's terrible. It's just good and terrible.
Moving on, we are looking at the finale of Uncanny Spider-Man. This is our final book of the night. This is kind of a toss-up. This would be my book of the night if Wonder Woman 4 didn't come out. So, like, they're sharing that spot. This is written by Cy Spurrier with Lee Garbert and Simone Bonfantino. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, as artist. And Matt Mila is colorist. This just pretty much is going to start leading into the big Fall of X, Fall of X Power, Fall of Powers or something. The big book in January that's going to like end the Orchis saga. And then put X-Men on the burner back burner until July. So Nightcrawler is in the hands of Orchis under the watchful eye of the Vulture, who is infected. We learn not with Legion, but with somebody else from the techno organic virus.
Yeah.
Or the Phalanx, excuse me. Different thing, different virus. We learn that the little devil that's been with him is a part of Legion. We learn that Silver Sable and Mystique actually do get along, and Silver Sable or Mystique doesn't mind that Kurt's dating Silver Sable. She's like, I see why you like her. And he's like, oh, because of this is like because you think her butt looks good.
Oh, that wasn't. I'm sorry. That was such a meet the parents moment. Just I see why you like her. It's like it's like, really, Mom? The Oedipus complex, familiar with guns, shapely figured. You remind him of me. That's like, not the Oedipus complex. Oh no.
I like the other one where she makes the joke is like, me, my mother. Then you just hear Mystique in the middle of a gunfight. One of your moms.
That was funny. That part is the part that I laughed at because I was like, wow, in the middle of a firefight. I know this is like the worst time, but meet my mom.
Also, we see the Mystique's powers have grown a little bit more. She can apparently alter her body to the point where she can hide guns within herself.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't mean like, I don't know how to phrase this without sounding horribly sexist, but like not the usual way we hide guns on women. Like literally, her chest cavity peels open to reveal two huge handguns in it. She's like, "Yeah, I keep telling you, my powers are more than just shape shifting my body.
I can alter. She does explain it. I can't alter my DNA down to the very atom. So it's like she does explain it multiple times, but still, it's like it's almost like a shock to everybody. Like, you can do this? I thought it was just your appearance, but
So the end goal in this one is actually Kirk frees Legion. Legion drains off any of the phalanx that was taken from him to control the other mutants, but we do learn that Adrian Toomes the Vulture is using a different phalanx strain than Legion, so Legion cannot drain it off him. So Legion's free. Warlock. Sorry, Warlock.
Yeah.
I'll get there. There's a lot of mutants you got to keep track of right now in X-Men.
Right. If it ain't Game of Thrones.
So Warlock frees Cloak, Dagger, Feral, and one mutant I am not familiar with at all. There, and then after they leave, he hands the mask back to Spider-Man. And Pete's like, well, I mean, not everybody can use beating up muggers as therapy. But, you do you.
That was funny.
But no, I enjoyed this book greatly. This and Wonder Woman were definitely my books of the week, like hands down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was definitely a good one. It really should have been called Meet the Parents, but again, still funny. We say Safari, her powers basically got everyone murked in Days of Futures Past. Yeah, pretty much. The ability to change her powers down to the atoms, that makes sense. But no, it was a good issue. I definitely had no issues with it, but the whole thing of Kurt and Silver Sable being together and the fact that the next issue has them meeting both parents eventually, count me in for that one. That's going to be funny as hell.
Oh, no, this is it.
Oh, damn. I hope there would be a Rise of X. I hope there would be a Rise of X cameo somewhere. I would hope.
Yeah, the Rise of X, Rise of Powers will probably continue this story, but Uncanny Spider-Man is over. Like, all the extra Fall of X books have ended.
Okay, so we are heading to Rise of X.
Yeah, January is Rise of X, and then Rise of Powers, and then they will make a formal announcement. They've already been putting out the teasers that July will be the new line, and we'll reveal new books. So I only have one request on when that happens: a consistently good New Mutants book.
I think you'll say make sure John Jr. is nowhere near a Spider-Man book.
Well, I mean, this is the X-Men. This is the X-Men X house. I can't control that. Now, if they do want to take requests, continue with Madeline Pryor. Give her own book and let her have the Ben Reilly stuff. Let her have that.
Or give Ben Reilly a happier story.
No, I mean, let Ben be what Ben is now. I don't need Ben to have a happy story. I just want him to be used and just give Maddie a book, call it I don't know, the House of Limbo or something, or the Embassy of Limbo or Exfernals or whatever we want to call it, and then just let Ben Reilly be used over there in that book, because we know he's not going to be used over in the Spider House.
Exfernals does kind of get a good ring to it, but
I do what I can.
It does kind of have a good ring to it. But anyway, thank you, Joe, for that, for the comic book pool, sir. As always, we always want to show love to Rick's Comic City. Because they show us love. Voted Nashville's #1 place for 7 years in a row for comic books, for mangas, for collectibles, hardcovers, you name it, you can find it there. They do have 2 locations, one in Nashville, Tennessee, one in Clarksville, Tennessee, and of course, Locker Nerd in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So if you are in the Middle Tennessee area, definitely check out Rick's Comic City. Let them know Give It Podcast sent you. Doesn't get you any discounts, but hey, lets you know because we're basically on their screens at all their stores. So they show us love, and we want to show love back to them. And again, if you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, please support your local comic book stores. Support your local your local bookstores, your local mom and pop bookstores, any place, and then also your libraries, any place that you get books outside of the big box stores or Amazon. Support them, especially in this day and age, as we're in the D days of Christmas Day shopping. And also, if you're in the libraries, as Joe has got there right there, kids, read the banned books, because long story short, there are people out there that are trying to keep you from reading stuff that actually you should know that helps you grow as a person. And again, read the banned books. Why? Because there's something in there they don't want you to know that you need to have for your development. So if you are in Middle Tennessee area, definitely check out Rick's Comic City. And if you're not in Middle Tennessee area, again, support your local comic book stores, support your local bookstores, support your mom and pop stores, shop small, and support your local libraries. Why? Because these are the last places to where you can actually get physical copies. And if you haven't noticed lately, there is an attack on physical copies out there, as they all want to go digital media. But I digress. But as we wrap this up, Joe, anything you want to let people know what you're doing, or let them know what you're doing about?
I am slowly streaming, if I'm awake enough to do it. Some Monster Hunter over on my Twitch. Trying to get back to mastering, because I bought Monster Hunter Rise on my PlayStation 5. Fortunately, it does not have crossplay, so I can't carry all my stuff over from the Switch.
Okay.
Meaning I got to go from Tier 1 back to Master Rank all the hard way.
Nice.
Thankfully, I know what I'm doing, so while there will be a lot of grinding, it will be at least fun to watch, because I do know how to dodge a monster.
I gotta get back into Monster Hunter. I haven't played since Jesus. It's been a while. Let's leave it at that. It's been a while since I played Monster Hunter, so I'm definitely gonna be rusty as all get out if I ever do get the chance to play it again. But where can they find you watch, Jim?
Twitch.tv/Joe Italian last name. Other than that, I'm not doing too much. I don't think I'm importing that over to Total Justice Gaming. I'm just leaving it on the Twitch at the moment.
Gotcha. Okay, and also do check Joe out at Total Justice Gaming on YouTube as well. And also, before I get into myself, guys, I do want to talk about Blur Station again. It is a new venture that myself and others have gotten onto that I highly recommend for other people, because again, we know Netflix, we know Amazon Prime, we know Hulu. We do love our streams, so we do love our streaming services. However, our streaming services as of late are dropping medias, changing medias, and increasing prices. And finally, something is coming around that is for people of color, that is for blurs and for nerds to enjoy. And that, my friends, is Blur Station. You can definitely go to blurstation.com. And from there, it is $10.99 for streaming. There is plenty of content out there for shows, for anime, for comic books, music. It is definitely a growing medium. So if you do want to join it, if you do me a favor, click the Join Now button up at the top right-hand corner. Select the Blur's Eye View membership, Affinity membership, if you would be so kind. And under the Infinity Influence Partner, you can select anybody there. Room full of blurs. We'll be watching myself, Black Spartan, Safari TV, Navy Montel, or Geek by Heart. Basically select us and then select the $10.99 Affinity membership. Why? Because with that Affinity membership, if you stick with it for 36 months, you'll get something that no other streaming services is providing. You can actually own a piece of Blur Station after paying 36 months of $10.99. $10.99. You can still pay this and get food. To me, that is very crucial. But definitely select there again. Select any Influency partner there. Select the Affinity membership and subscribe and enjoy what's behind Blur Station. You will not be disappointed. After 36 months, you'll be able to own it. You'll be able to own a piece of Blur Station. It does not get any better than that, but definitely check it out. Now, as for myself, guys, you can find me Blackbox447 on all the socials. I usually do reviews of everything that I watch, that I read, and gym stuff, because I try to keep myself in shape as best as I can. The link at the bottom, I'll make that a little bit bigger for you guys to see. You can definitely copy and paste that link into the browser. It'll take you to our YouTube and Facebook groups for all the podcasts, How the Fact We Got Here, Get Bit, and of course, Oculus Podcast. Get Bit Podcast can be heard wherever podcasts are seen or heard. That is including Spotify. Very soon, Apple. We just have to get that set up. But every place else that you can listen to us or see us, you can definitely do that. And again, like it, share it, let people know about it. Word of mouth is the greatest weapon we have against the algorithm. And trust me, the algorithm doesn't favor everybody, but help us out. We're just trying to make it. We're trying to get big. Me and Joe are trying to make this the permanent job for us, which would be cool if we could. But
I tried making the TikTok.
Besides TikTok. But also, guys,
I tried making
again,
a TikTok, and then I learned I'm 40 and don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, that's how we all started on TikTok. It ain't just you. But we do want to thank everybody that liked, that watched, that commented. We really do appreciate this, guys. Also, at the same time, because it is the holidays, again, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Festivus, happy Robo Christmas. If I'm missing any other ones, Joe, did I cover almost everybody, or I think I've missed a few?
No, we're good. I don't think anything. Plus, I don't know what holiday celebrates Khonshu, so we're safe from that.
Cool. Now, with that
no,
being said,
actually,
guys,
no, I really did. I tried making a TikTok for us and couldn't do it. So I went to some of the people at work. Is like, you guys are of the youth. Show me how this TikTok thing works.
You guys are of the youth. Lord Almighty. Well, with that being said, guys, like I said, the holidays. We are in the holiday features. Again, if you're shopping out there, shop small. Give the local stores a chance. Really avoid the big box stores if you can. Again, with Christmas happening this Tuesday, Monday. Wow, I got that really messed up. With Christmas happening Monday, guys, of course, we are going to be taking a little bit of a holiday break. So there will be no live Get Bit this Friday. We will have a recorded episode. But aside from that, we definitely will be back after the holiday season with all new information. Because trust me, there probably will be something new that's happening, especially with things going on. Because let's be honest, we did not see the Kang issue going the way that it did. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But aside from that, guys, again, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a merry, happy Kwanzaa holiday, Chanukah celebration. Joe, any last words we call tonight, sir?
No, I'm still getting over the fact that the new Sentai got announced.
I was going to ask you about that. I can ask you after the show. But with that being said, guys, we wrap this up. We always talk about fandoms on this show. Fandoms are welcome. They are shared. We only our goal here at Get Bit is only actually support those. It's not about being toxic or gatekeeper. Share what you love, because you may find another fan who may be welcomed into the fold. Don't believe me? Kevin on stage is finding it out right now with anime, and I'm loving every bit of it. So again, if you know somebody, share it. Share them. Welcome to the fold, because One Piece always needs new members. That being said, guys, I've been Will. This has been Joe. This has been the Get Bit Podcast, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll all get through this. Be safe this holiday season. Share it with loved ones. Check on loved ones. Aside from that, love and peace. We out.